I want to welcome you to the Charly Crawford podcast. Let's ride.
Hi, I'm Trevor Brazil.
My name's Corey Kuntz.
Hi, I'm Gina Nogueira.
I'm Luke Brown.
Hi, I'm Tyler Wade.
I'm Caleb Driggers.
Miles Baker.
Wesley Thorpe.
Paul Eves.
Patrick Smith.
We ask so much out of our horses that recovery is crucial, and that's why I use Equinety.
I've been doing this a long time. What I have in common with these ropers is we all trust Equinety.
I feed Equinety because I want to give my horses any edge.
My horse.
My horse.
My horse.
My horse. All my horses have the Equinety edge.
What's up, Ross?
Not much. How you doing, Charlie?
Man, congrats on your win at the Clay Logan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Man, that is Clay Logan and Shane Boston have done an amazing job with that roping. I went over there Sunday to come watch you guys in the open, and man, that parking lot was jam-packed.
Packed. I mean, and I went up there. I don't live very far from there. I went up there on Friday to pay my fees, and it was just as packed, if not more packed then. I mean, they got the teams. That was a good roping. They've done a good job. That's a really good roping.
Amazing what they have done since the 2020 first one after COVID, and then what they've exploded it into now. And, you know, you guys split 40,000 a team, you and Junior D's. That has to be a pretty good win going into the winter and kind of getting a good head start on being able to kind of be in a financially better spot than probably how you started, I'm sure.
No, that's for sure. And that's like, this time of the year, I feel like is the hardest time to keep my money together and keep everything rolling, because there's so many jackpots that are real expensive, and there's not very many rodeos. And I think the rodeos are hard, but really I have a lot easier time during the summer keeping my money together, I feel like, even than being home during the winter, just because we have to keep so much money rolling for the jackpots. So that was huge. And yeah, that was a good win. We needed that.
Yeah, I think from what I had heard was when I talked over there, I thought that they had 2,000 teams from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like in a 3-day span. That is amazing. But that
Amazing.
377, there's such a testament to being able to build a jackpot arena. Like that's truly the jackpot arena. You got two of them all under one roof. You can roll the teams in that thing, and plenty of parking. I mean, it's set up to be a jackpot ran event. And I don't know how much money they had added. Was it 20,000 added? Do you remember?
I think 20 or 25 or something to the open, I believe, somewhere right in there. Yeah, but no, like you said, 377, I mean, that facility from the parking lot to the arenas and everything, it's set up. It's set up to do what they're doing. But what's crazy to me too is the Clay Logan, you know, that it's such a good roping, and they have it twice a year, and both of them are so good. You know, it's not just like it's hard enough just to have one good one, and they have two of them that are both awesome ropings.
Yeah, because it said they're going to have a solo select futurity September 30th and October 1st. The Clay Logan Open roping start October 2nd through the 3rd in Hamilton. So
That's gonna
there's
be cool.
another one right around the corner.
Yeah, no, that's nice. It's nice, like, guys like that, like Clay. You know, I've known Clay for a long time, and he's been around my family a lot, and just to know good people like that are putting on ropings and really trying to make it good for the ropers, that's nice, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, they're doing an amazing job, and you know, with that 40,000 split, so 20,000 in your pocket in February, being a new dad, you know, those things like that have to really help as well. Talk a little bit about it, your little girl.
Yeah. So Patton Ann, she's 6 months old, and yeah, that definitely helps, makes things a lot easier. But man, this has been a whole different part of my life, and it's changed things a lot. And it's been really fun. It's cool, and she's changing every day. I know everybody says that and stuff, but man, whenever you really get to see it, it is crazy, just their personality and all the stuff, just how much they change. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun for sure.
Now, Ross, how old are you?
I'm 27.
27.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's one of those things I feel like you've heard it so much growing up that, "Oh, they change," and, "Oh, you won't know till you're a dad."
Yeah.
How much of that is like, "Oh my gosh, they were really right." Like,
Oh, they
I
were
had no idea.
they were right, yeah, and then it's like, yeah, you hear it and there's really no way to even explain it other than it just experiencing it, I think, but yeah, it's true, and time flies. I mean, that 6 months, golly, that went fast. That went really fast, and, but no, it's been really cool. She got to my wife, she's awesome. She's definitely made it a lot easier on me, made my job a lot easier. But they came out whenever Patton was about 3 weeks old and flew out to Tremont, and that's where they got in with me last summer and then finished out the year with me. So that was really cool. And she got to be there for Ellensburg. We won Ellensburg last year. That was a cool win having her there and stuff. And so it's just been fun. It's way different, but it's all good. It's all good changes, definitely.
Yeah, those little girls, they can melt your heart.
Oh
It's just
man.
something
Oh
about
man.
when those little hands grab your finger.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna have a hard time whenever she gets to talking. That's all I know. Man, that's gonna make it hard to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, it will. It will.
Yeah.
But I tell you what it's done too is, like, for me, like, it also helped the guy grind a little harder. It's
Yeah.
funny when you're doing it for yourself, there's a certain amount of grind that you have, and there's a certain amount of pride that you have to do it on yourself, but then when all of a sudden, like, there's people relying on you to do it, it
Yeah.
it it taps into a different part of you sometimes you almost didn't know you had, and
Yeah.
I know I felt that for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Yeah. It's just different. It's just a different feel, but it's I'll tell you one thing, it made me feel like I might be a lot more selfish than I thought I was. I've had to take a look at some stuff and be like, time management, I can't just be roping, hanging out all day. It's different. It's different now. And but like I said, it's good changes. But yeah, that baby, that first little bit, I was like, "Man, I'm a lot more selfish than I thought I was."
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still going through it today myself.
That's funny.
I, it looks like you and Bry are having a good year. I see where
We
you and Bry Kreis are open. Looks like you're 14th, got about 12,001.
Yes,
You know,
sir,
it's
yeah.
early. It's only February, but it looks like off to a pretty good start.
No, it's a good start. Really, it's probably one of the best starts I've had for the winter, and I won a little bit of my money at the circuit finals, but, me and Bri, we placed second over there at Odessa, so that was nice because that rodeo, I feel like it's about like a crapshoot, and, it's a good rodeo, it's a tour rodeo, but, it's gonna be tough, and you need to draw right, and, it went good for us over there, and then at Denver, we won some good money, made it to the final round over there, and I got a leg. Still got some money off of it, but, that was that's still I think that's the most I've ever won at Denver, so I was happy with that trip. So, it's a good start, but it's been nice roping with Bry. I like his horses. I like the way he goes about it, and I feel like we're in similar spots rodeoing wise. He's been rodeoing for a little while. He made the finals healing, and then him switching back to heading, really him doing that just shows me how serious he is about rodeoing and wanting to win because obviously he heals good, so he could, if he wanted to, he could stay right there and just be a healer the whole time and you know see how it goes, but he thought heading's going to give him a chance to win more, so taking the chance and committing to that, I like that. And I just feel like he's real smart of the way he goes about roping. He can definitely go at him, but if we get in a spot where I feel like we need to catch, I think I have a lot of confidence in him going and knocking that steer down and setting me up. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's gonna be a different go than I've had in a little while, and just I think it's gonna be a good match. I'm liking it so far for sure.
Good,
We've had
good.
some good chances at the jackpots too, and I really haven't done good, but man, he's jackpotted really good. He's been heading great at the ropings.
What seems to be the team that you've kind of seen that looks like they're off to a good start, like new teams for
Um,
2026? It looks like they're off to a good start.
Tanner and Colby look really good, I think. I think just, you know, just right off the bat, watching teams, that's probably my pick of my favorite new team. I think they're gonna do really good. I like a lot of the other teams that stayed the same, and I think they're gonna do good too. I think Clay Smith and Nikki Northcott are gonna do this great this year. Nikki got so close last year and really healed healed good enough to make the finals. I mean, I really thought he was gonna get it done. So I bet this year I could see them both making it. Um, but I like a lot of the old teams that are together. I like Andrew and Jake. I think that's a really good team. Clinton Jade, good team. So, there's a lot of them, but I really like the new partnership of Tanner and Colby. I think that's
Yeah.
a really good team. Tanner, he's been definitely at the rodeos. I mean, he's one of the best headers that there is, and I think he's a really good jackpotter too. But at the rodeos, man, he stands out. He does a good job, really good job.
Yeah, he's just so lethal, his
Yes.
rope control, where he's able to keep that horse ahead of the run that doesn't read his throw, and then just where he can soften that corner up, but then he's looking right at you as soon as it gets tight. His IQ of where he's at in the arena, but his rope control is just so phenomenal.
Yeah.
That Sorrel horse looked amazing at Denver. I mean, the
Yeah.
finish and and even when they had to just go make a smart run in the middle of the arena at Fort Worth,
Yeah.
that 4-4 run in the middle of the arena was just I'm like, "Man, these guys are tight." Like,
Yes.
even though it was an extra swing
Yes.
on both sides, there was no slack.
No.
From the foot speed of the heel horse and the foot speed of the head horse on the finish, it was like, "Yeah, that looks good for the winner. That looks real
Yes.
good for the winner."
Yeah. And that's hard. Like I know but I mean, even over there at Fort Worth, like, there's lots of good runs being made, so it's like, I know I get caught up in watching, I'm like, "Man, it looks good over there, it looks good," and then you get there and it's like, "Golly, these steers are running, they're out there, it's kinda farther," these guys are doing a good job to make good runs, and so, like, for them to make a run like that, I mean, it's harder to do that even than what it seems, like, that's a hard setup. It can be tough,
Look,
but
explain a little bit of, like, what you and Bry's kinda game plan is going into Fort Worth, because like, if I was going in just watching on the Cowboy Channel, now that I'm a Monday morning quarterback, I get to watch all of it and critique it, right? But, like, if I was backing in the box, like, I would want my heeler hanging back enough
Mhm.
where I don't get shoved too much left, because if you're
Yeah.
gonna have that step, I think it's fine as long as you're gunning. If
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
heading, you better hit the middle or the left side of that box, and you better be taking your throw right after the line, because that's gonna be your last shot where you have the most room to hit the corner.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to catch, that sucker better stay in the middle, because
Yeah.
it looks like to me, if you just try to run up there and catch, but if that healer steps him, that wall is coming where you create that V, and
Yep.
that's where it looks like when
100%.
guys are just trying to catch, like, the run got way too hard, because it was almost like if it stays straight like the Grand Boys, when they just went and caught,
Yep.
shoot, that steer stayed right in the middle of the arena, had plenty of time right there to be able to set up that run. Then it was easy to go ahead and just knock a run out in the middle of the arena, jackpot run in the middle of the arena. But if you tried doing that same thing when they stepped, it looked like, man, you was in a bind.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, that was kinda my plan was just really, I stepped my first steer more than I wanted to, but that was my plan was try to just leave him in the middle, don't let him get to the right, but try to just give him just a little bit of room and then try to pick him up, and, our steer ended up being a lot softer than what I thought he was, and I mashed him a little bit too hard, didn't give him a great go. But, yeah, I mean, it's such a fine line right there, and that's, like, something that I try to do a good job at. I try to haze good because I feel like that's one thing that's kind of underrated. You can do a bad job hazing and it ruins the whole run right off the bat. Ruins the whole setup. And so I try to just give them a little bit of room. I don't try to get crazy, but just anywhere. I don't stand all the way at the back of the box, but just kind of get comfortable in there, let the steers start, and then go with them and pick them up. If I know they're going to come left, they normally come left. I might try to break to the pin a little bit or something like that, give them a hole, but I try to just give them a little room and leave them in the middle. Yeah, I mean, if they could stay just right down the middle or half a step, that would be ideal for sure. But yeah, that was kind of the game plan. And Fort Worth, it's such a tough one too because they take two teams. I think they take two teams out of your first set, and you have 2 rounds, and it's not off of the average. You have to win money, so it's the most money won. So you really need to make two pretty dang good runs. One round win isn't really enough in most of the sets to get back. So the guys you got to have some stuff coming together over there. I mean, if it all works out, I think it's really good, but it's a hard one. I feel like because you don't know how tough the set's going to be or not be, and you need to be winning in both of those rounds. So it's a tough one because you don't really get to back off, I don't feel like, and just catch unless you're at the end of your set in the second round and that round fell apart. But I like the
Well,
sets.
talk about the advantage of being toward the end,
Oh,
because at the
yeah.
first you're shooting blind. At the end, okay, now you can assess.
Well,
And I think just for a lot of the people that don't realize how hard that arena is when them steers are strong and stepping left to just go catch one. So,
yeah.
but to be able to kind of know the strategy, okay, if he does, then I'm going to have to, no matter what, I've got to go at him because otherwise I'm going to run out of room. And then you hear everyone, oh, well, how come he didn't take an extra swing? Well, you can't. The wall's fixing to be there. And so
Yeah.
it's tough. There's a lot of strategy and that. And then also too is a lot of these guys that are going at them at the start, they know if they don't, then who knows how it ends up. Because if they just go catch one and then they don't win nothing, especially if they had a good one,
Yeah.
there's so much to kind of
Well,
when you're first five and then when you're the last five in a set.
that's the deal too, is that those first few teams, that's gonna determine the rest of the sets. If there's 8 teams in the set and the first 4 don't do a good job, well, these last 4, they're gonna get to lay up a little bit more or play their cards a little bit more. But with guys roping, there's a chance just about any team that's entered at the rodeos right now, it seems like, there's a chance they could all blast one. So if you're first out, I mean, you can't be banking on any of those guys messing up. You got to be thinking, okay, everybody's about to have a really good day. I need to have a better day and try to go at them. So yeah, I mean, in the sets being at the end, I mean, that is huge, huge. I
Yeah.
mean, it can it can take you from having to try to make the best run of your life to trying to just catch one. So yeah, it's tough. I think I like the sets. I like regular radios too, but I like the sets when there's times where I think it seems like the sets are great because you draw up right and everything just goes good and it feels like it's the easiest thing in the world just to put some money together right there. And then there's sometimes it's like, golly, I needed to rope way better to even get a chance at it, any of the money. Just it all just depends. You never know with those sets how it's gonna be. And
Yeah.
you know, even in our set, I feel like we had a really tough set. We had a lot of good teams in it. And that first round was tough, tough. And the second round, I think it ended up paying ground money. I think 3 teams caught. But you just never know. You never know how it's gonna be. But dang sure would rather be at the end in one of those, that's for sure.
When Logan and I, that last year that I went, we, when we would practice, especially for like those tournament style rodeos, like there might be days where when we practice, we might be okay. Let's go make this 5, 6 second runs. I might be on my practice horse, might be on my good horse, and we're just making sharp runs.
Mhm.
Um, then the next time when it gets closer, I might get on my practice horse and we might make 4 or 5 second runs. Then the practice session in the middle, I'm coming over with it. And so
Yeah,
we're working on being 3, working on being short 4s. Like when that set's tough to be able to
yeah,
have that run together, then back it back off. And then we might too also work on a clean run.
yeah,
Well, when
yeah,
we would go be 8 or 9, that's when I might be on my good horse and I'm going to free him up, or even my
yeah,
practice horse and free him
yeah,
up after maybe we went 3 and 4 and then, okay, the very last one, we got to be 8.
yeah,
So like what that would make me do in my practice pen is I'm not training. I'm not running up there slow and freeing my horse up.
Yep.
Like I'm riding that sucker's left side, putting him all the way in there so I can set him up, free my horse up also. But then also what it feels like when you all of a sudden you had it in your mind, you're going to be 3 and 4. Then you're in that last set and the legs win in third or fourth. And that's all
Yep.
you need to advance. And that easy money sitting on the table to make sure that I can still ride my horse all the way to the steer and go be 8 or 9. That way my freeing up still felt like I was competing
Yeah. Yeah.
to where it wasn't like I was taking an extra swing and picking my horse up
Yeah.
and
Going through the
training.
motions.
No, I was still trying to be 8 seconds on my horse that I've been dropping back
Yeah.
to where then it was realistic. And that was always, to me, it was a fun way to practice where you were just, because you're right. There's so many different scenarios when you're up toward the end, because if you start off that first set first and the next set, you're going to be last. So you
Yep.
have that, okay, I'm setting the pace on this first set. And then the second time, okay, I can see what's going on.
Yep.
But then you can kind of, it's almost like having in football where you have a list of plays on your arm.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to be 4. Okay, I got to be 5. Okay, I got
Yep.
to be 6. Well, there's a play right here that you're going to make on this certain steer that you've been practicing at home. So it's like, you don't even know, you almost have to look over your partner because it's like both of you know, because you've been practicing
Yes.
it, this is the
Yeah.
type of run we're going to make so we can go to that next round.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I really like to just try to like be able to rope. Like my base is like, I want to be able to try to rope every steer as aggressive as I can without being crazy, without taking a huge risk. And, like that's something I don't feel like I had in my bag very good a few years ago. That's something I've really had to work on. There was a time where I got to the short round. If they said I had to be 15 to win it, I went, oh man, I'm either going to look good right here or I'm going to look like an idiot because I know where I'm throwing it. And, now that's like, they said, I'm like, okay, I can just go catch the steer and get paid. That's great. And, yeah, that's been nice because there's just you never know. I mean, there's so many different situations and stuff that we get set up in where you might have to just knock them down. And man, that's that's nice. It's nice to be for me, I know just to be able to take a breath and be like, okay, I know I can go knock this steer down. And that's something I've really, really had to work on, Uh, for the longest
I
time, it
think
was
when a
just
guy's young too, when a guy's young, he's always trying to, he's watching the NFR, he's watching
yeah,
all the rodeos throughout the year. So you're thinking it's always just get up and around and throw, get up around and throw. And
yeah,
there's so much of the year, yes, that is true. But then
mhm,
also too is like that's what the thing I like about the tournament style is
yep,
there's strategy.
yep,
It may not just be 4th and 25 on every single steer.
yep,
And so okay, there might be one where like say you got to be 8. Okay, your guy gets up there, snaps it on him, and he turns it to be 1, 5, or 6. I know I can take one more and make 100% sure this
yes,
sucker is getting his heels clicked together.
yep,
That has to be practiced also. And I think sometimes a guy can get, especially when you're young, you want to
yep,
run and gun. So
yeah,
it's real easy that, to where it's just spot throw, spot throw. It's like, no, no, no,
yep,
it's not every time. You got to have that throughout the year for sure. But you've
yep,
also got to be able to know how to free your horse up, but also know how to do it when there's money on the line. Not where you
yep,
come in there, let off, and then your horse reads it, and now all of a sudden you're at the end of it, and you're like, I had to be 15. And I
yeah,
just, you know, but to me, those are things practice, I think, to where you're ready for every situation they can throw at you. And that's what I've seen the tournament styles kind of create is you never kind of know where those, when you go to Livingston,
yeah,
you know what you got to do. When you
yep,
go to Odessa, Texas, you know what you got to do. You got to run and gun.
yep,
You got to hit the line. You got to let it fly. You got to get around that sucker and find the first top.
yep,
You know what you have to do. But here, like I say, there's some strategy. That's what I kind of like about it, where it kind of makes it fun and kind of
yes,
takes the monotony out of it a little bit where
yeah,
guy can, there's times I remember at Fort Worth, Houston, San Antone, there was rounds I literally got to go free my horse up at the rodeo,
yeah, yeah,
to go make it back.
yeah,
And that got me by where I can make another one where I go, all right, now I know my horse is scoring and running to the steer. So if I've got to
yep,
let one hang, now he's almost freed up before the next one. So
yeah,
like that's
yep.
what's kind of fun about it a little bit where it makes it just kind of takes the run and gun out of it a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. It gives a lot. I think it gives a lot of different people chances to win, and yeah, I'm a fan of it. I don't dislike the tournament rodeos. I like them both. I like, two in the shorts, but the tournament rodeos, they're good rodeos too. I like that.
We'll talk a little bit about that team that won Fort Worth, because I'm always a fan of the young kids coming in and getting a shot at it. Your circuit guys getting a chance, qualifying to get a shot out of it. Your guys that started off the year early and getting some wins at the first couple rodeos of the season and getting in and coming in with no sponsors on their shirts and taking it to it, everybody,
Yeah,
because we've all been there. Every
yeah,
one of us has been there. So there's a certain part of like, man, good for them. Good
yeah,
for them.
yeah,
Corbin Coley, I think from Iowa, I believe, and then Trent Vaught from over there in Arkansas.
yeah,
And then when I watched Trent Vaught over there heel, I'm like, that boy looks hungry. Like that boy was
yeah,
over there. He was up over the top of them suckers. He looked like a cartoon character with his bib on and a knife and fork just ready to just pull some feet together. And I'm like, that's my kind of guy right there. Had that dough locket. I mean, just over the top. And when they come out, wham! I'm like, I like that. Like that right there got me excited. And then when they won it, I'm like, good for them guys. I loved it. I
yeah.
loved
That
it.
was that was awesome. I was happy to see those guys win. They did a good job, and yeah, Trent. I like Trent a lot. He heels good, and he's rode that same horse for a couple of years, and I mean, just a good, solid horse, and he does heal him. Like that was a cool win for them, and I'm happy for them. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And now they've got, I mean, I,
Shoot, they got 25,000 one.
yeah, 25,001. I mean, they're in good shape. That's a heck of a start.
Yeah, I thought the commentators Jeff Metters and Butch Knowles said it really good on the Cowboy Channel. Yeah, they come in with no sponsors on their shirt before Fort Worth, but they might leave with some sponsors on their shirts after before you see them at Houston. So that's
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 no
pretty
joke.
cool.
That's no
Yeah.
joke. No, it's cool. That's cool. And yeah, that's gonna set them up good and give them a chance and to keep going and really have a chance. And I remember like even a few years ago, Jake Edwards, he whenever they won it, Clay Yoder and Jake Edwards, they won Fort Worth and then dang near made the finals. I mean, we're right on the bubble. Might have even been 16th. And but man, it just gives a lot of guys a different guys a chance. And just like the sets. I mean, it makes it different, and not that they wouldn't have won it if it was different, but I feel like the sets gives a lot of different people the opportunity to win.
I think the sets do, and I also think that given some other opportunities for other teams to get in besides world standings,
Yeah,
having a
yeah,
qualifier system, whether it's you know, like Denver has a qualifier before the rodeo. I
yeah,
think Fort Worth has a few rodeos you can go to throughout the year where you can get qualified.
yeah,
I think those are really good for those rodeos to where you take, say, 5 teams through a qualifier of some system. Then you create a David and Goliath scenario. So just like Fort Worth, when David comes in and stones Goliath down to the ground right there with frickin' just spinning him off and rearing back on 2 feet, I mean, they stretch Goliath frickin' in half, and everybody loves that. Those are things the
yeah,
crowd loves. We love it. It's good for everything, and so I love it when it gives those guys that they don't have to full-time rodeo to be able to have a chance to get in.
yes, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. That's nice.
What about your start? I know you're a Texas boy from Salado, is that right?
Yeah,
Known your
yeah.
dad a long
That's
time
that's
before I got
that's
my
going
start
old
when I
school.
was.
I mean, that's where I'm originally from, is Salado.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm from there, and we moved, I guess whenever I was about 8, we moved to Lott, Texas. And honestly, I'm really glad that happened. I like Salado a lot, but man, I got lucky. That I love it in Lott. Just the community down there and the people, great people. And some of my best friends down there, just all everybody, just hardworking, nice people, and nice to be around. And i'm I'm lucky. I think that it definitely helped shape me. And just getting to rodeo and go to all these different places and stuff, there's just not I've really got to see how unique it is, what they have going on in Lodge, just because it's so different. It's so still just tight knit community, and I'm really lucky to have gotten to grow up there. I like it, but yeah, I've always loved roping though. I mean, I've been ate up with roping my whole life, and
Because you
really,
got to
I've
rope with your
never.
dad a lot growing up, correct?
Yes,
Because
my
I
dad
remember
roped.
he had some cool head horses, man.
Yeah,
When I was an up and comer coming from Oregon, moved to Salado, riding horses there for a little bit, and so I remember he had 2 of them. Man, one looked just like Bobby Hurley's horse Spiff, and he
yeah.
was so cool. And your dad headed good, and so roping was part of your guys's probably after work, evenings, after school was
Oh
probably a
yeah.
lot of us spent in the arena, huh?
Yes, no, that was it. That was our routine. I mean, we got home from school and work, and we roped all night, and came in and warmed up whatever dinner we had waiting on us in the house. And yeah, that was our routine. But yeah, he roped every day whenever I was younger, and I loved that. Got to be around it, go to the ropings with him and stuff. And yeah, that's what I've heard he had some cool head horses that could run, and he really, once I really started roping, he didn't enter as much, but he roped with me at the house almost every day, and honestly, that's probably has a lot to do with me being a healer. I had some pretty good spins. He can dang sure handle them. No, we roped all the time, and I was ate up with it. I mean, I was a kid. I had a kid. If I was outside or awake, I had my kid rope in my hand, and I'd be getting in trouble. Just put that rope down and go get this done. Just just give it a minute. But I mean, I roped goats, and a couple of my best friends from down there, they lived right down the road from me. And I mean, we got together and we roped goats every day. If it was summer, we were roping goats all day. If we were home, then they'd come over and rope in the evening with us and stuff. And yeah, I mean, we just got after it. But
Now
I've
how
always
many was in
loved
your
it.
family? Brothers,
W-
sisters? How many was in your family?
So so my parents are divorced, and um I lived with my dad, and I have an older sister that's a full sibling, and then Ace was my younger brother that passed away. And then my mom, she got remarried, and I've got a couple of stepsisters and a brother over there, and then I've got a younger brother named Sam, that's my half brother, and so we've got a full crew for sure.
Now,
But
when you guys were young, like was everything kind of surrounded in the arena, or did some like to rope and some like to do other things? What was kind of the after school, I guess, hour or so, maybe before the parents got there? Like, what was some of the stuff that you guys would get into?
I mean, I definitely was just roping, that's all I ever really did. And Macy, she ran barrels, and so she'd ride horses and stuff. And then Ace, he roped, but when he was younger, he was a wild man. He just he liked to play, and he'd be that guy. He'd rope with us, he'd get his horse ready, get everything going, run a steer, he'd run a couple, and then you'd be at the end of the arena and come back to the front of the arena, and his horse be tied up, and he'd be gone playing or doing something. Just he was always getting into everything. Like he was a wild man. But my other siblings, like on my mom's side, they don't rope or anything or mess with horses. They're all my little brother, he's really good at baseball. He likes baseball a lot. And then my older brother, he was a track star. He was really good at track. Went to college running track and stuff. And so all like sport, did some sports and did some stuff. But really for the roping, me and Ace roped, but that was about it. My sister, she never got into the roping deal. she roped one day and I laughed at her too hard and she said she's not doing it anymore.
There's a certain amount of hide that a guy has to have that can kind of withstand some create criticism. Some would
Yeah.
say just kind of whatever, but it's got to be pretty thick sometimes to be in that arena sometimes, doesn't it?
That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. No, I I have a young kid that comes and ropes with me that's actually from Lot. He comes and stays up here a lot and he ropes really good. He ropes really good and he's 16 and I mean he's full of it and likes it a lot and we'll be practicing and I gotta remind myself, hey, just relax. It's all good. And then I gotta tell him, hey, I'm not actually mad at you or anything. I don't want you to think I'm really mad. We're all good. Everything's good. But it's hard, it's just roping, you care about it a lot and you put a lot into it and like in my mind, like with roping, that's what I'm thinking about all the time. So I just even if somebody comes and ropes with me, I gotta keep in mind, maybe don't tell them everything that I'm thinking right now because I might just blow them up and make them feel like they can't ever catch again, but uh that's a that's a tricky deal. I haven't done a lot of teaching or anything, but I've had to definitely try to just tone it down a little bit and, maybe not say everything that I'm thinking to get them working on 50 things at one time.
Yeah. I I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, so like my dad was like, it was when you didn't hear nothing, meant you did good.
Yeah,
That was how it worked. Because when you didn't, it came in loud
yeah.
and and everything was serious. I mean, it was you walked around on eggshells, everything was life or death. And then when I got to Trevor's and he's laughing and having fun, and I'm like, I didn't even know you were allowed to laugh in the practice pen. Like I had no idea till I hung out over there. And there's so much. I think it's so learned, I think, for a lot of people, unless it's just natural. Like for Trevor and some people, it's just natural to go have fun and still be able to grind at the same time. But
Yeah,
I think it's very natural when you're passionate about something to where there's an emotional and physical exhaustion that can kind of be created because, your emotions are so high because you're trying to win.
yeah,
You have a family to support. You have dreams that you're wanting to be able to accomplish and expectations. And I feel like when there's emotions that you let get into it that are not productive, man, that's so hard to be able
yeah,
to manage those, throughout your practice session, throughout your rodeo career, all that stuff. That's one of those things that I think a lot of people learn in business to be able to manage people, to be leaders. That's something that I wished I would have learned a lot more
mhm,
before I team roped to be able to learn those leadership skills because you know the guys when you're around them.
yeah,
Trevor, when guys would get in their rig, when I would get in their rig, I roped better being around that guy. There was
yeah,
no tension. Everyone was trying hard and everyone knew we were trying hard. So we're going to have fun and we're going to win too.
yeah,
And there was so much of a monkey off your back by just being around that kind of culture.
yeah,
And then there's times where I would get around some of them old school guys, like that's who I grew up around. And it was very similar to my dad. It was life or death. It was the eye of the tiger. It was the Rocky era where, hey man, pull your head out of your ass. We got to win, and it was so, you know, tight to whether if there was a mistake being made, if you didn't rise to that occasion, then man, it ruined a lot of people.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so there's different ways to win, that's for sure, and everyone's wired differently, but to be able to keep the emotions to where it's enjoyable and not to overrun you, for some people that are wired like that, like especially me, it's a learned skill for sure.
yeah, yeah. No, that's I mean, even just rodeoing, like you saying that, being around people that, expect or they're expecting to do good and, that they're just gonna enjoy themselves and, hey, it's gonna go good. That's hard, and I think especially rodeoing, like, that's definitely one of the things that I need to get better at that I'm currently working on, I try to do better at, but, man, you're out there and you put so much into it. There's so much time and energy and effort into just getting to these rodeos and going. and then you get a big opportunity and you mess up. Oh man, that's rough. That can be hard to take, but I'm trying to do better. I think I'm doing a lot better, but man, it can be frustrating. It can be really frustrating, but with rodeoing, like, to me, it's so doable. I really think it's all doable. Everything's achievable right there. It's just taking out the little mistakes. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to take on whenever it does happen, but it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. But it's hard. That's a hard battle.
Well, when you were high school rodeoing and roping through high school, going through college, um, as you were studying this, who was a lot of the guys that you studied that um, was your heroes growing up that you watched them and studied and idolized them?
Um, so really the main person that has the most to do with my healing is Michael Jones. And so he's friends with my dad. Michael's dad taught my dad how to rope. So my dad's family, they were from Round Rock, in town, weren't really around horses, and my dad really liked the horses, and then he got to be around Michael and them whenever he was in high school, and that's when Michael was younger. Anyways, David taught him how to rope, and then they stayed friends. And as I got a little older, my dad started taking me to rope with Michael, and he shaped my healing and taught me most of the stuff that I still try to do and believe in goes back to what Michael had taught me. And that was the main person that I was around, and I got to rope with him a bunch, and he helped me out a lot. I like old Michael. He can dang sure he can heal him. He can heal him. And
He could break it down good, but then also too, like the guy had so much natural talent
yeah,
that he was almost a little ahead of his time, kind of right there when he started, where
yeah,
he could read a lot of things and he could get on a lot of horses, and he kind of knew what fit him. And also, that guy was a gamer
yeah,
because when the stakes got high is when he really showed up.
yeah,
The
yeah,
NFR, he was known for having some great NFRs when the stakes were high. I think a lot of it had to do with his style and how he could get around one to set
yeah,
up a shot almost every time.
yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, I think that he rides one of the best corners for rodeoing of anybody that rodeos. He knows how to get around there and put it down when they're coming out of it. And yeah, Michael, like you said, rising up to the occasion and stuff, I feel like that's just kind of Michael. That's talking to him and stuff, and he shaped a lot of how I look at rodeoing and what I want to accomplish and what I want to do. And uh he just I mean, Michael, he believed he was the best healer in the world. He'll tell you today. We call him and ask him, he'll tell you. He's the best. And whether he is or isn't, he believes it. And I think that probably helped him a lot in those big situations, because I know in his core he believed it. He knew he could do it. But he never won the world, but I think that's one of my favorite healers of all time. And then I got to rope with Rich a little bit whenever I was probably like 17. I went and stayed with him for like a week. And that was one of the best weeks I've ever had. We had a good time, and man, he helped me out. He helped me out a bunch. And I right after that, I was going to Shawnee and won the Shawnee deal. And so that was cool. I got to call Rich and tell him that I won it and everything after we had just worked on it. So that was really fun. But I really didn't get to I didn't rope around a lot of guys, like a lot of open ropers when I was younger, but Michael was definitely the main person that did a lot for me. And yeah, Michael and Rich.
This episode is brought to you by Ryan Studdard with Oak and Ash Realty. Ryan, the broker and owner of Oak and Ash Realty, is someone who understands the land, lifestyle, and the work that goes into it. Whether you're looking for acreage to run horses and cattle, a place with room for an arena, or a home that fits your family just right, Ryan has the experience to help you find that perfect property that fits your needs. If you're looking to sell and want an experienced broker that understands the nuances of farm and ranch properties, Ryan has that track record. From ranch land and ranchettes to residential and investment properties across North Texas, Ryan knows what matters. I've had the experience of working with Ryan multiple times over the last few years, and I can attest firsthand to his knowledge and experience. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or just want a straight answer about land or real estate, give Ryan Studdard a call at 817-683-9505 or check him out at oakandashrealty.com. So when you first started rodeo, and what year was that? And then once you got out there, what was it like? You've seen it, you've watched it growing up, and then once you get in there, what was surprising? What was shocking? What was easier than you thought? And what was it that you're like, there's going to have to be some stuff I need to work on when I get home?
I think 17 was the first year that I went, 17 or 18. And I started the year with Laramie Allen, and we had amateur rodeoed and done good. We had just won the CPRA and UPRA both in the same year. We had been roping good and feeling good about it. And we go to the Denver qualifier, and we were buddied with Tyler Magnus and Truman, and go to the Denver qualifier. We just make 2 great runs, maybe place second in the first round, go straight from there to Odessa, and we win second or third at Odessa. And Tyler, he's like, man, this rodeo is easy, huh? And I kind of laughed like, yeah, but in mine, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of going good. This isn't too bad. And yeah, I'll just say that summer, it was a long summer. It was hard, but the setups are so different out there, I feel like, than here in Texas. Even it's different for a header, but even healing from the hazing, here in Texas, I could go with the bait, gate, steer step left, header hangs it on them. It's all right. Out there, you go too early, your header's getting cut off. They're getting cut off. The barriers are too long. So I had to play with that a little bit, try to give the steers more room, but try not to be too far away from them. And it was hard, but I won rookie that year, which it didn't take very much money. I didn't win much, but I finished the year with Blake Teixeira and went the whole year and everything. So I was glad I did that, because I went all the way through Pendleton and stuff, and just to kind of get the feel for everything. And yeah, it was hard, but
there's a lot to what you just said there. And the fact that it's a financial investment almost to keep going, because you're not making money. If you're going and you're getting your butt kicked, it's rare that if you can at least just make your truck and trailer payment, especially if you're young enough or you don't have a land note, you don't have a family, that's when it's pretty good to be a young kid getting started, because you're investing hopefully for the future of the fact that you're seeing these different setups. You're
yeah,
around the killers. You're seeing what they do. You're
yeah,
watching and you're asking questions. You're getting so much, because that's almost your college.
yeah,
There's some money up front that it takes to be able to stay out there to learn the game. And there's not a book on it. There's not
yeah,
anything else other than being out there. And so there's so much money, I think, that needs to be invested sometimes when you're out there not winning, to where, what are the good guys? How does their corner look like? When that
yeah,
head loop goes on, what is that steer shape? Where's that guy trying to be? What type of horse do I have? What type of horse do these guys that are killing right there have? So
yeah,
there's so much education, I feel like, in those first couple years, not only the run, the horses, and the shape of the set of the cattle and the run you're trying to make, but the arenas. That's
yeah,
what so many guys don't realize, is if you're
yeah.
coming from a little area, just on the head side, think of the different starts from the NFR to
Oh
Pendleton.
man, man.
One's 4 under, the other one's 178 feet under. You know what I mean? You got one then you got Cheyenne that's strapped way the heck out there. You got Selena strapped way the heck out there. Then you go to Napa and it's, 1 under, or,
Yeah,
you go to Hermiston and it's 2 over. There's all these different places and setups and all that stuff. It takes a lot of getting out there and seeing it, because there was times I remember that when I hit this start and I missed and I know I had a chance to win it, that
Mhm.
ate on me for 365 days
Yep.
until I got a chance to go back there again.
Yep.
And I'm not bragging, and I'm not saying this to be arrogant, but there's a lot of times I came back and placed at that rodeo the next year almost because it was like that mulligan. It's
Yeah.
almost like that, man, I know I got the run, I got the setup to be able to take that shot, and I know if you give me that chance again, I know
Yep.
I'm gonna do it. Well, then
Yep.
you go to enough of those rodeos year in and year out, and you start getting a vibe and a feel to where when you go there, this is the horse I feel like is gonna have this setup, this is the horse I feel like is gonna be good for this setup, this is the this is where I know I could take an extra swing because the short round falls apart, like Ellensburg or Dodge
Yes.
City. All right, this is where when I get to Livingston, you freaking come with grit teeth because when you hit that line, you better freaking come out of it because there's 150 other guys doing the same. So you kind
Yep.
of learn when to hold them and when to fold them by what you're saying on that first year of just getting out there, man, and seeing what it's like.
Yes. No, 100%, and my other thought was too, I just wanted to show the other headers and stuff too that I'm committed, I'm planning on being out here, and it can go bad, and that's fine. I'm gonna stay hooked, and, I mean, this is what I'm doing, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but that was some of my thought with it too. I said, "I'm just gonna, I'm gonna stay hooked and finish it out." So, we did, and it was good, and shoot, I think Tyler Arnold, he was the other guy I was trying to beat in the rookie deal, and I think it came down to Pasadena. I think is what what got me over it. So I needed to stay out there, it seems like. But no, yeah, it's been a big learning curve going to the rodeos and stuff and rodeoing, and I feel a lot better about it now. I mean, it's just crazy some of the stuff that I know now that I didn't know then. Even there was a time, I don't know what year it was, but I didn't make the finals. I had won San Antone with Tate one year before I'd made the finals, and that year, for most of the year, I'm in the top 15. Just winning just enough to stay in the hunt. And man, like that last month, it was like, all right, we need to be winning everywhere we go. Where really now I look at it, that last month, there's a lot of money out there. If a guy can just put runs together that last month, goodness gracious, you can win a lot of money. And just little things like that you don't know, it doesn't seem like it seem
Yeah.
like there's enough there, but there is.
Well, because you
And
gotta think well, you gotta think once the 4th quarter starts, which I always thought the 4th quarter was right around Caldwell, you start getting now some average rodeos finally again. Because it seemed like
yep,
for the longest time, there's 1 headers, maybe 2 headers, 1
yep,
headers, maybe 2 headers, and you get to Caldwell, I think it's 1 and a short now, but it used to be 2 and a short.
yep,
You go be aggressively consistent there, that's money. You make 2 aggressively consistent runs at Canby, that's money. You go to Ellensburg, same thing.
same
Walla
thing.
Walla, 2 head.
Yep,
Ellensburg's 2 and a short. You go to
can
Puyallup,
yep,
same thing. You go knock them down and keep progressing, making good, sharp runs. You get up the final 4. If you can just be clean, that's usually money, sometimes first. And then Pendleton, even though it's so hard because you never know what you're going to draw,
yep,
but just being good on the barrier, staying up on the grass, good finish, 3 of those runs, always money.
yep,
And then you go to I think what a lot of people don't realize too is like, all right, you're gonna have to go south because there's money. So you gotta go to Amarillo, you gotta go to Stephenville, you gotta go to some of those, Albuquerque if you can. But
yep,
no, those are gonna be dirty tough
yep,
because that's where the top guys are heading. Now when you
yep,
go west, now when you go out to California, Brawley, you go out there to San Bernardino and Poway,
yes,
those are a lot of teams that are gonna try to get qualified for next year. A lot of the teams that are in the circuit, your best guys, they're home.
yep,
Like, that's where you can go make just half the time a
yep,
clean run,
yep,
and that's money, but you
yep,
don't know that until you go. Does
yes,
that make sense?
yes,
Like, that's one of those things that takes years to be able to kinda know, like, I don't have to go and just try to light them up. I can go be
yes,
pretty sharp and come up and look up and you got 10, 15, 20,001,
yep,
in that
yep,
last quarter.
yep. No, that's what it seems like to me. I mean, the guys that are making the finals every year, they're catching the most steers. They are definitely making good runs, but they're catching the most steers out of anybody. It seems like to me. I think that that's the thing. Just even with rodeoing and staying hooked with it, it's doable. It's right there. I mean, I can think of the steers last year. I know them off the top of my head which ones would have made a difference. And it's right there. But the guys that are doing it all the time, they're not beating themselves as often. Not saying they never do it, but they're catching steers consistently. And that's hard. That's hard, easier said than done, but
Well, that's where I thought you seen Andrew Ward and Jake Long start that about it seemed like Caldwell, Kennewick, and then you seen it at Calgary, then you seen it
yep.
at Ellensburg, then you seen it at Puyallup, then you seen it at everything we were talking about. You seen it right there again at Pendleton, and then the momentum carried through at the NFR, and just something about getting on that momentum roll where
Yep.
they were literally them versus the steer, them
Yep.
versus the steer,
Yep. No, that
and
was
then
that was good to
gold buckle
watch.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's a team right there. That's a
Yeah,
team.
I really love that team. You got a
Mhm.
sharp, consistent header that tees them up, and a guy that gets around them and heels fast.
Yes.
I've always liked that style, and both of them look like when you're open with Andrew, you talk about a guy that would have to take all the pressure off because the guy never has a bad day.
Yeah.
Like for me,
Yeah.
like that's the guy. Like if I was looking who to try to mirror myself with, it would be that
Yep.
guy.
Yep.
He gets his stuff done and he makes the finals and wins the world, and it looked like there was never a bad day all the way to it.
No. No, that's a
That's tough to
positive
do, but
guy.
he has it. He
He
has
is.
it. Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. He's positive. That's for sure.
So when you started going, you paid your dues, started getting it to where you were getting some partners now, you're getting to win some big wins. Then talk about your year in 2021 where you make your first NFR.
Yeah. So that was awesome. I got to rope with Clint, and we had second partnered a little bit before we roped that year, and then we ended up roping, and man, that was fun. I had kind of changed up some heel horses and stuff that I had. I had a couple horses I really liked. Well, really, when I first left for the summer, I had one horse. I had Gina, which I don't know if you know Gina. It's a mare that Dakota Kirkenslager used to heel on, sorrel mare. Anyways, I just had her, and then we get going, and didn't have a great winter, just real average, didn't win much. Caught some steers, jackpot was good. And then we left for the summer, we get going, and I'd been trying to get this old horse, Daryl, and I don't know if you remember Hunter riding him. Hunter had him and Brock had him, but anyways, Brock has him at the time, and I'm texting Brock, "Hey man, I really could use that horse. I really need him, yada yada." Well, he helps me out, and he said, "You can get him. I can get him to Prescott." I said, "Perfect." So I don't even take a horse down there, and at this time we had won just a little bit, a couple checks, not much, but we go down there to Prescott, and they show up with Daryl, and he's 24, no papers, skinny, old horse, just looks like an old, old horse. And we win Prescott, just first two steers. It just was like, this is what I've been looking for. We win Prescott, then we go on. We had a good fourth, won 17, 18,000, something like that. It was a good fourth, and had a good year rodeoing, and came in ninth. I mean, I guess after Pendleton was whenever we kind of knew for sure that we were in. And up until then, it was looking good, but I definitely didn't want to jump the gun and say, yeah, we got it done. But we placed at Pendleton, and after there, it
What
was like,
was that
okay, we're
drive to
we're good.
Texas like? What was that
Oh
drive to
man.
Texas like after leaving Pendleton?
It was the easiest drive I've ever had coming from Pendleton, I can tell you that. Yeah, I might have even stopped and stayed the night somewhere, didn't just drive straight home. Um,
Yeah.
it was good. It was really good, and
This episode is brought to you by NRS, and right now is the time to shop their annual saddle sale. If you've been thinking about upgrading, now is the time to do it. NRS has the largest selection of quality saddles from brands you can trust. The NRS annual saddle sale is going on now through the end of February, so you don't want to miss it. Stop by an NRS store or shop online at nrsworld.com to find your next saddle. Talk a little bit about some of the phone calls you had from Pendleton back home. You know what I mean?
oh
Because
man,
those are the things I remember was there might be the guys that I called that I owed money to, like, hey man, we made it, man. I'm gonna be able to pay you back. There's also guys like my best friend Danny from home, like, man, I made it finally. You know, my dad be calling him and talk a little bit about those because those are the fun ones. You know, those are the
yeah,
ones to
yeah,
where you're back to that little kid again. You're back to where you remember all the guys that were with you on the way, the guys that helped you along the way. The times I've called Tyler Magnus, because he's one of the guys that gave me my first chance being able to move in with him, and he taught me how to win, and being able to have those phone calls with those guys that helped you, the
yeah,
gratefulness that you have. But talk a little about those because those were fun. I still remember those to this day.
yeah. No, that was great. Like I know talking to my dad, that was probably the coolest one. Just is he definitely knows what all has gone into it. He was out there with me every step of the way, practicing and stuff as when I was young. So I mean, it was cool. It was just a really like surreal moment. Like it was just it was crazy. It was just nice. It was just like I didn't feel like I'd put in all this effort and everything for nothing. At that point, and missed family trips and, family stuff. And, that's the that's the hard part. That's the only part that I don't like sometimes about rodeoing and roping, is I do think I've missed out on a lot of stuff, but I love roping so much. I mean, I would do it again.
It's hard because those are sometimes the drives where you look back. Like for me, I remember there was times, man, I was like, man, I had a choice to go to my friend's wedding, my best friend's wedding. I
Yep.
had a choice to make whether I go to, for me, one of the things that I look back is, there was kids being born that the guy wasn't there for. There was funerals that I wasn't there for. Like when
Yep.
I look back, like my dad died and the funeral was during the short round of Fort Worth. So I have a choice. There's a
Yeah.
sacrifice that's being
Yep.
made that am I going to let my partner down?
Yeah.
Or is this something greater than that? And so it's hard. But like for me, it was I heard my dad's voice. My dad said, "You better get your ass to Fort Worth because you're not turning Logan out." So that was one of those things. Like for me, it was like I know that what my dad would have told me.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
but at the same time, it's tough because, there's those you look back and you look at all the sacrifices you made and to be able to know that, man, the guys that stuck with you the
Yeah.
whole time are gonna be there watching you in that yellow arena. And it kind of it seems like what the sacrifice at the end of it, and when you get there, you have that almost sense of peace or that sense of confidence or just a sense of like the monkey being off your back that,
Yeah. Yeah.
man, me and the guys that was with me the whole time, man, we get to all celebrate together and go and watch what it's like to be in this little tiny arena that we've all dreamt
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's a lot of what it was like. It was just like it just made me feel good. It was just like I felt like I wasn't doing it all for nothing. I put in a lot, and awesome. We're getting, this was the goal, is try to get here, try to win the world. Well, we got the first part done. So that that was awesome. That was really cool.
What was that first year like at the NFR? What was it like? Was it just like everyone said? Was it faster than you thought? Had you been able to get enough practice in where it's like, man, this wasn't as hard as I thought? Or kind of
I
talk a little about those 10 days.
Well, so really, I had a really bad NFR. I had a really, really bad NFR, and like, leading up to it, I mean, I felt as good about it as I could possibly feel. I mean, we practiced and my horses felt great and the jackpots were going pretty good. Everything was really I liked how everything was going up there and shoot, even through the steer run through. I healed a couple in there and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be a fun week." And man, it ended up not being that fun. It was good to get to be there, but the roping part, I was pretty down there for a minute, but, yeah, it
Isn't it
was it was
wild how
fast, and I mean,
fast
I think
it can
even
it's wild how fast it can go from you're looking at your back number, man, you can't get any more full than this. Like my cup is full. And then that first steer blows your doors off, and then now you got your head in the closet door just slamming it shut. I'm like, just yesterday I was so excited, and today it's like, where did it go?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, that's what even I think what makes it so fast is just obviously just the head barrier is so short. I mean, the headers can get going like in the run through. It didn't feel like that, in the run through, this is just normal team roping, and then in the rodeo, yeah, I mean, it's happening, but I think just the headers are getting off the back of the box so fast, if you're not
Different than
going, you're
anywhere
late.
else, huh?
Oh, different than anywhere else, anywhere. There's not another feel like it. Eh, can't replicate it.
No.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
What
But,
I started doing after a few NFRs, was I started paying attention to how they prepped them, how they prepped the cattle, how they broke them in, what they did after they broke them in, how much time they took off, what they were feeding them. And
mhm,
there toward my last couple NFRs, I started doing the exact same thing. And then what I also started doing is once they were broke in, then I mean, I was feeding them just as much fire as I could, alfalfa and Omal. I mean, I was feeding them just anything to get them running. And
mhm.
then, then I would get into where when the gates bang, we'd hot shot them, make sure when the gates,
Yeah,
kind of like Secretariat,
yeah,
when
yeah.
I think it was Secretariat when they would go the buzzer and then they would whip him, whatever, which one, the Secretariat or I forget which one it was, but I think it was that one, or maybe a Seabiscuit, maybe a Seabiscuit. I think a Seabiscuit, where when they were match racing and there was no gate, so when the buzzer went, they would just get him where he would fire off the buzzer. Well, we do the same thing with the cattle. Well, then I'd pull the heel box out because I had a clear view or a clear shot. So when they would hot shot the steer out, I was behind them in a Polaris with the hot shot holding on to the steering wheel with everyone hazing on the left side. And I'm chasing them all the way to the back end thinking, when that gate open, I want them to be like Seabiscuit, you know what I mean? Because that's how fast it felt. You know what I mean? I want
Yeah,
these suckers sticking their tail up and rolling
yeah,
because that's the
yeah,
only way you can get any true feel of what that first it's about 7 rounds feels like.
yeah, yeah. No, I don't think you're wrong. I think that's probably a good way to go about it.
I'd highly recommend a helmet because there's a few
Yeah,
times that I almost
yeah, maybe a
scorpioned at the back
seatbelt.
end because I got to going so fast I couldn't shut it down.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it was really, really cool being there, like, just being there and being in the rodeo, I mean, it was like nothing else. I mean, it was awesome, and I appreciate it a lot more now than maybe I did right at the time just because I was so frustrated with myself. But no, that was great, and we ended the week, we were 3-9 on the ninth one, and then we were 4-5 on the 10th one, so I caught 2 by 2 feet, so I I didn't feel terrible after that, that helped a little bit, and I was really frustrated, and right there at the end of the week, I was real, real frustrated and just, then I was like, back to whenever I made it, I was like, well, this wasn't all for nothing. Then I was like, golly, I've put a lot of effort into this and then come up here and this is what I do. I was really frustrated, but before I got back to the house, I was ready to run them again. It lasted for a minute, but before we got back, I was ready to run them again. I felt better about it, but dang sure it was just it's just one of those places, obviously, you wanna do so good there, and then it just didn't start off great, it wasn't even like I mean, really, it's not even like it was that terrible, but it just didn't start off the way I wanted, and then I was just fighting it, then I'm trying to in my mind, it's like, I'm trying to make the best run of my life, every night now, because it was like, I think Ren and Jeremy were the team that went before me every night, and I'm telling you, they had a heck of a finals. I mean, they are just making runs, and so every night they before us, they just blast one. Golly, we're gonna have to make a pretty good run right here to beat them. But of course, that I'm telling you, they had a finals that year. They made some good runs. But
One of the things I enjoyed, I had Steve Duhon and John W. Jones and Oat Berry on, and then, last year I also had Luke Branquino, and even Alfalfa last week was talking about it also, but they have the mentality, almost every one of them had the same one. It was them versus the steer,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was one of them where I remembered kind of being back in that spot in certain times to where I wasn't trying to compete against the guys in front of me. I was making the runs that we knew how to go make and also what the steer would allow. Where
yeah,
I remember in the years past was trying to make a steer better than what he was or running all over myself on the good one that I had trying to set a
yeah,
world record. And I
yeah,
think there was a lot to what they said was being able to slow down and make the run that they knew how to and focus on the steer that you had. Because
yeah,
sometimes, man, they can dangle that little carrot stick right there by blasting in front of you, and then all of a sudden you're off your game. You're roping their
yeah,
rope and not your own. It's easy to
yeah.
do, especially in the Thomas and Mack.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, it was a learning experience and it was good though. I'm very grateful that I made it and got to go and it was really cool. And but yeah, dang sure like to get it done again. We've gotten close a couple times and been just right there it feels like, just close enough to be close, but not
Yeah.
quite getting it done. But we're gonna try them on again. They're not giving up yet.
Yeah, and the main thing is I think too is where you're at. You rope good enough, knowing that you've made it, knowing that you're right there close, knowing that from here on out it's those little things. It's just those
Definitely.
little things from here that a guy's always gaining that knowledge. Kind of like what we was talking about when it was you missed one in 365 days, you're marrying on that same shot. And then
Yep.
when that same shot shows up that you know where to be or know where that shot needs to be to take that. Well, to me, that's where Clay Cooper and those guys have done that so much. Jade
Yep.
Corkle, Jake Long, they've been in those spots where there was a read that they didn't read it in time. And it's almost like just marinated on enough times. And then when that read shows up again, they remember the adjustments where it's reaction. There's so much in that where a guy's kind of going through those phases where, you know, between 20th and 10th is just those little things throughout the year. And
Yes.
that's what I think so many guys don't realize is just those little things that can make or break your year. And
Yes.
making sure that those little mistakes don't take away from that next opportunity that shows up. That's probably where one of the biggest sometimes you can get in your head and you're trying to make a shot that all of a sudden wasn't there because you're in your head from the one from before. And those clear
Yes.
minds and being and working on those reactions, man, those are you're in the right spot. It's just those little things from here on
Yeah.
out that
Yeah. No, then that's what I mean, I look back even on the year that I made it, I feel like maybe I feel like I'm a better roper, than I was then, well-rounded, just in what I wanna do and in the way I wanna go about it. I think I have better horses and I think it's set up better, but like you said, it's just the little mistakes, the little whenever you get a chance to win good money and you need to take care of business, you need to go ahead and do it, go ahead and get it done. And but it's right there, it's
yeah,
doable. It's doable,
yeah,
but
yeah. Keeping, I think one of the things that for me was, and especially look back where I'm at now was being able to keep a positive mindset, which you hear plenty of. You hear that all the
Yeah.
time. And then there's a lot to it. I think that there's a healthy way in the fact that sometimes people can be so positive that they're almost in denial.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful of the fine line between, okay, analyzing it, looking at it. Okay, I scored good. I got my swing up in the right spot, teed off on him good. Might have been a little slack right there when I stepped out, created that jerk. Okay, next one. Let's make sure we get the same go. Now make sure we step out and pick our horse up and get it tight and then hook your horse up to the steer. Well, in that way, all that does for you is making sure now that I'm going to make sure my partner's not beating his head up from when a steer hit, got his head back and fast
Yeah.
topped you.
Yeah.
Those are the quarterback roles to where, okay,
Yeah.
don't sweat this one on the next one, man. The next one, I'm going to make sure I get my horse picked up once I get it tight and he's going to post up. We're back.
Yeah.
And so having a patient healer to where, okay, I know my guy on this one is going to make sure that I don't get in my head from when that steer got there. I got in time with him, then he short hopped and
Yes.
I couldn't get it in there. Those are
Yeah.
things I think that, okay, can we get the team back together where we can post up, where you're looking at, you're not just, oh man, it'll show up. We'll give the next one.
Yeah.
Well, the hard part is that then you don't really address what created it. I think, but then there you can't go where, oh man, I suck. Then you're in such a hole where then now, the whole, it's like Eeyore with the whole cloud over you, just raining the whole time.
Yeah.
And so there's such a fine line between addressing what needs adjusted, making
Yeah.
those adjustments and getting back on track. To me,
Yeah.
that was the healthiest way for me to be able to analyze the run and then go forward. So I
Yeah.
would just sit in there and just focus on how do I make sure that I get that rope tight so when I step out, because once I know you're posted up, you know where the feet are fixing to go.
Yeah.
Then a guy
Yeah.
can start getting on some momentum and rolling. But to me, those were
Yes.
the hardest ones, was to be able to look at it in a healthy way, at a
Yeah.
team way, to where
Yeah.
now I wasn't great at that. There was a lot of times where it was tough, but I think once, for a lot of times headers, there has to be a certain amount of emotional intelligence a guy has to learn in this to be able to be a team leader, because there's a big
Yeah.
part of it. It is team roping.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, they're the quarterbacks, and you can have the best healer in the world, and if you're not helping them out, it's going to make their job a lot harder. Doesn't mean they can't do it, but man, there's a lot of what the header can do, and I think that's why there's such a obviously, I mean, there's such a big difference, I feel like, in the headers to the healers. I think there's quite a few healers that heal really good, and I think there's a lot of headers that head really good, but there's a difference, and I don't even know what the top whatever. I don't know how many of them that there is, but there's not that many of them
There's about
that
five,
it's
that are going to be there every year.
yeah, yes. Yes.
Like, and it's the headers is what's going to dictate that.
Yes. Yeah, no, and they do, but they quarterback it great,
Mhm.
and it's that just shows how hard it is. The heading, I'm glad I'm not a header.
It's funny
That's
how the
hard.
heading is the easiest thing to learn and the heeling is the hardest thing to learn.
Yep.
But then once you hit a certain number, they cross.
Yeah.
Because once you get to where you can heel and learn how to ride and know where the spot's going, the better your header is, the easier your job is.
Yes.
Well, the better
Yes.
your heading is, there's more to it now. There's starts from all over the place. There's head horses that need to keep scoring, keep running, got to stay
Yep.
up in the corner. Then they got to stay up enough to finish. And after it crosses, then heading becomes a lot of chess. There's always a counter to every move, and there's
Yep.
so many different ways that you can kind of learn to win. But it gets a lot harder, and the fact that the better you do heading, the better that healer does healing, and so there is so much to the heading side, and I think that's where a lot of guys like, you look at Clint Summers, you look at Brad
Mhm.
Kreitz, like the guys you're talking about, they learned that, man, I can manage more when I can do it myself, that turn over and go to heading.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
know, man, if I can control this, and then I think there's so much too healing for a long time, knowing where those steers need to be. And so
Yep.
when you go on the head side, it's like, man, I know that when I was back there healing, if I can make these steers look like this,
Yep.
and to be able to take kind of control of the run.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot to that for sure, and, that's what it's kinda crazy. I feel like a lot of the really good headers heal pretty dang good and maybe had a spot somewhere in there career, whether it was really early or later on, like maybe Brian, Clint, where they decided to switch, and it's just crazy. Like it's just crazy how many good healers there are, and then not as many just really really good headers. And but those guys, they handle their rope good and heal good and do it all good. They're handy. The top
Yeah.
guys, they're good. They're really
Mhm.
handy.
Yeah, they're true assassins. It's fun. That's what it was. I enjoyed so much going to Sunday 377 over there with Clay Logan, just watching you guys rope. Like I got there right about the tail end of the first round and just watching the runs. It's so far back now, but guys have so much control from 2 to 3 coils consistently
Yep.
now. And
Yep.
it's fun to watch. That Barry strapped out there, but it didn't matter. They still got those steers where the money needed to be, and then those handles were posted up. And you
Yes.
seen the good head horses, and you seen good runs, and you just seen the word like and not much was different. When I left, Clay Smith was always within. If you give him 3 chances, he's usually in top 5. And when I went
Yep.
over there Sunday, it was the same thing. Clay
Yep.
Smith was 3 of the top 5 high calls again. It's like,
Yep.
yep, same thing as when I left. Doesn't change much.
He's still good.
He's still good. Yeah.
Hello, Ropers. I'm excited to be heading back to the ranch at NRS in Decatur, Texas for another beginner headers only clinic, April 24th through the 26th. If you're a number 3 header or just getting started, this clinic is built for you. It's 3 full days focused on the fundamentals that matter. Whether you're working toward your first win or just looking to rope smarter and safer, this is a great time to do it. We're only taking 10 headers, so spots are limited. Don't wait. Head over to charlycrawford.training, click on the clinics tab, and lock in your spot today. We'll see you in Decatur.
Yeah.
But no, so I went and roped with Brenton Hall yesterday, and we were talking about just the jackpot and stuff, and he was like, I don't know if you could really be 8 anymore. He said, if you're 8, you better be short 5 on the next
Mhm.
2 or 3.
Yep.
I
That's
mean,
exactly
really,
right.
if you're 14 on 2 in the roping, which is crazy,
You're
that doesn't
behind.
feel very good right now. That
Yep.
it's not like, all right, we're in a good spot. It's like, all right,
Especially when you can enter 3 times. Because you
yes,
can take more
definitely,
chances when you enter 3 times. You go to the
definitely,
BFI, it's different. Enter 1 time, the
yes.
Spicer grip, enter 1 time, lot different.
I'll
Not as
tell
many
you,
chances, more conservative.
I'll tell you one roping that really surprised me this year, caught me off guard, was the Vegas Open roping, down at South Point. That was a tough it was a go one
Mhm.
time, 2,500 a man, and that was a tough
It
roping.
was
I
tough.
mean, tough, tough. And that's like you said, like the BFI, Spicer Grip, normally, those ropings go one time. It's gonna be, you knock them down, you're gonna win really good money. And, like, right there, that's kinda what my thought was, if we just go make good runs, we're gonna win good money. I hadn't won much in Arizona, so I was really not planning on trying anything crazy on. So we're just getting through the roping, and it gets down to about the 4th round, and we're behind a little bit. We end up getting to place, win last hole, but anyways, the run that I'm thinking of that was so crazy to me. So Tyler Trine and Nikki Northcott, they're good on 3, maybe 20 on 3, and that was with a mess up. On the 3rd round, Tyler misses his slack or did something. There was something happened in the run that made them take longer, else they would have been really, really fast on 3. And then they go 4, I
4.
think they go 4 on the 4th one right
Mhm.
there. Just
Yeah.
still not in a bad place in the roping. They were still probably in the top 5 or 6 on on 3, and go 4 right there. I mean, that was like,
Yeah.
that's doing it.
What
That's
I
doing it.
noticed, because I went the last 2 years to Vegas, and I was the same as you, as like, even when the top guy's gone over there in the yellow arena, this rope one was still tough. And I was
Yep,
kinda thinking BFI, Spicer grip, but what I noticed the difference is on the head side was that they have so much more room with the BFI and the Spicer grip. So it takes
definitely.
longer to get to them to set that run up, where Vegas is shorter and tighter, and there's a spot about the first quarter part halfway down the arena where if you don't stick within that spot of the arena, you're like the 8 and 9 where you're open from behind. There is a
Yes.
lot too also is knowing, from one year to the next, where it's wide open, more room, longer
Yep.
times, shighter setups, gonna be tighter. Like those were things that I learned too, is like, and then also whether how tough they were when there was in her twice, and then how dirty tough they got when it was in her 3 times. You
Yeah.
know, those are the things after a while when I got to going enough where I started getting the feel of like, all right, this is where I can make sure my horse, I can be conservative on the barrier. I got a
Yeah.
running head horse. I can go make 8-second runs, 7-second runs, 6 seconds on a good one, be in the money, or if I draw good, I'll be high call. And here's where I better hit the start and I better
Yeah.
make sure that I get it on this steer in this certain spot, because if I don't, Clay Smith, Driggers, Clint Summers, all the, you know, all those guys, this is where they're going to be turning them. So if I don't
Yes.
get that spot in the arena, they're going to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You kind of
No,
know after a
definitely.
while, like you say, that education of entering and going and learning what
Yeah.
type of vibe each roping has, where it's pretty consistent year in and year out, really.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I agree with you there.
So after your first NFR, you're rodeoing along, and then some things start happening at home where some tragedy happens, and talk a little bit about that if you don't mind, with your brother, and
Yeah.
what year was that? Kind of what all happened, and that had to be extremely difficult for the family.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So that was 2 years ago. I was rodeoing with Coy Rallman, and we were doing pretty good. Not having a bad year. Had a chance, and yeah, Caldwell. It was the morning of the slack. I got one of my buddies text me. It was early in the morning, and he texted me. He said, "Hey, I heard Ace got in a wreck. You know, I hope everything's okay." So in my mind, I'm just thinking he just got in a car wreck or something, didn't know anything out. So I just tried to call him, and the guy that he was helping answered the phone, and I'm like, what? And he's like, just start praying, it's not good. And so they had to live flight him. He was doctoring cattle and got in a wreck. I don't know exactly how it happened, but he got hung up and got drugged. And they had to life flight him out of there, and he ended up dying at the hospital, passing away. And it was terrible. That was terrible. My dad, he was a few hours away in South Texas, and he was on a ranch down there that you got to go through. You got to go through 20 gates to get out of this place. No service, and I think that was miserable. He got the call that he was on a getting life flighted, had to come up there, and so anyways, we just uh turned out of the rodeo and flew home, and that was a hard deal, really tough. Ace, he was really special. Just he was a really, really good kid, like great to be around, nice, just good kid. So that was really, really tough. And I stayed home for about a week and then came back out and finished the year, and didn't end up making it. We were on the outside of it, but had a good year. And yeah, it was really hard on my parents. It still, I mean, I think it's definitely hard on them, but everybody's doing good, and we having the roping for him, having the roping for him and stuff now, and and that's been really cool. One of the last things that Ace did was he put on a roping. That last weekend that he was live, he had his own roping. That was the first one that he had done. That was the last phone call that we had. He was calling me, telling me about how good it went and everything. And so I know the roping deal, I know he would like that, because that was up his alley. I mean, he really enjoyed the roping, but he was a worker too, he liked working, and I could definitely see him having a roping one day, if he could. So I think it's really cool. Just I think it's something he would be really proud of
So
for
talk
sure.
about the
But
roping that you guys are putting on to honor your brother, and talk a little about when it is, and then also we'll end up kind of talking on the foundation side of it as well, which
yeah,
I think is really special.
yeah. So it's called the Live Like Ace roping. And the first day it's March 13th, 14th, and 15th. The first day they're gonna have 14, 12, and a 10 businessman. and those rope-ins are capped at 150 teams. And they're doing that. They have a pro-am that night, but it's a sponsor rope-in. And so if anybody ever wanted to get in that, you sponsor the rope-in and you get a spot in that rope-in, and then they have a dinner that night with an auction, and it's a really cool deal. They did it last year, and I mean, it was a that auction and dinner was really cool. We had a good time up there, and I mean, good food, drinks, the whole deal. It was a good roping. And Saturday they'll have the open that has 25,000 added, the youth open that has 25,000 added, and a 10.5 youth that has 25,000 added. And the main
What
reason
is the youth? What's the youth? What's your age limit on the youth?
the age limit, I believe it's with the Patriots, so I believe it's 19 and under. It's on the same deal that the Patriot uses. So I believe it's 19
This
and
is
under.
this is something where any kid that's got some skills, that's 19 and under, with this much money added, is going to be a.
They
And
need
there's
to go.
75,000. It looked like just added just a Saturday.
Yes. No, and that's like, I mean, we would love to have, one of the biggest open ropings, or, me, since I'm gonna be at it,
Mhm.
I would love for that open just to have 75 added. But Ace, he went to all the youth opens, he went to the youth BFI and all the youth opens, and he liked that a lot. And you know, even for me, I mean, I remember getting to go to those. They had some of those whenever I was younger, not as many, but in our mind, we just wanted to try to have one of the biggest youth opens that there is. And it's got a draw-in option, and that's so in the 10, I mean, if somebody wants to go but they don't have any runs, go draw in, and it's for good money. And so that's we really just want to give the kids a good spot, and just help grow team rope, and keep these kids wanting to do it. And we actually kind of like partnered up with Wesley and T Wade with their rope. And I think them having that World Junior, I think that's one of the best things that they could do. I went to the World Junior when I was younger, and some of my best friends still today I met there. And that was the first time I ever got to be around them. And I just think that's a really cool spot to bring kids together from different places. And so last year we did a deal. You had to go to both ropings. You go to both ropings, and then at Wesley and T Wade's roping, the high point that we gave away a gator. And this year, I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a gator again, but it's going to be something cool. So I'm not for sure exactly what they decided on, but we're going to do that same deal. You have to go to both ropings, and then they'll just do the points at T Wade and Wesley's to try to not get it all too confusing. But yeah, that Saturday, I really hope the kids come out, because that's the main priority there. I mean, yeah, we want to have a good open roping and all that, but we would love to have one of the biggest youth ropings that there is. Just really give them a spot to go win some real money. And so that's Saturday, and then Sunday they got an 11 and 9 and 8, and they're all go 3 times, just good ropings. Should be good. No cap on the entries or anything. So hopefully just get a lot of roping in that day.
A
But
special word. I really love that, and I think that's so admirable when you and T Wade and Thorpe, using your platform, to be able to give back to the kids coming up. That's There's so much to that, because if it's not strong with the youth events coming up, you'll really see it at the top. And
yes.
knowing that from where you guys have roped so much from them youth events, that know that what these ropings need to be like, having an
Yeah.
open, and then also having ones of the kids that rope good too. There's more of them. So
Yeah.
having a 10.5, having a draw. So if they don't have their partner, they can still come rope. They can get
Yes.
around the guys. They can come watch the open roping. For some of these guys coming from back east or places up north where they don't get a chance to see this, but they rope good and they have the means to be able to come to this roping, this might be Disneyland to them. This might be
Yes.
the coming there and seeing the stuff that they've only seen on TV. So being able to put those opportunities in front of those young kids is really special. And I think also being able to member of your brother in that same way. I think that's
Yeah.
for you and your family. That's something that that's very special.
It we're really proud of it, you know. I mean, there's been a lot of work that's gone into it. My dad, he's worked his butt off to make it all happen and make it all right and everything. And yeah, I know Ace would be really proud of it, and I know he would like that. You know, he's not a he wasn't a selfish person at all. And like having a youth open that has 25,000 at it, I mean, I know that he would think that's cool. And I hope the kids come out, and I think it's even I need to look at Wesley and T-Wade's dates, but I think their roping is right there, maybe a week apart from ours, or not very far. So if people were coming from out of state or something, it's something they can maybe work. They can maybe work both ropings, you know. But it's a good deal, and we're excited about it. And we had a lot of fun last year, and we're really happy with it. So we just hope it stays good, and we can just keep going.
Talk a little bit about your foundation and what how it's worked and what how guys can get involved, but also talk a lot about what is it for? What is the
Yeah,
cause for?
yeah. So the Live Like Ace Foundation was set up, and it's for, you know, families in need, families with hard times, families that have tragedies, anything that goes like that that we see. If we can send them some money from that foundation and help them out, then you know that's the goal, and that's the plan. And we've got to help out some families over the last year, so that's been really cool and special. And we want to just continue that. Just, you know, whenever people get in a bind and things happen, you're not expecting it, you know, it's just it it's nice to have some help, you know, during those times, because that's you know, even us going through everything with Ace, there was just a lot of things that, you know, you never even think about, you know, things you have to pay for and whatnot that you just don't think about very often. And but it's expensive, and it's a hard enough time anyways. So if we can help some families through some of those times, that's what we want to do. And the best way to get involved or to reach out or anything is just go to the Facebook page. It's just the Live Like Ace Foundation, and you can just message them on there, and they'll see the messages. And but yeah, that's the goal, and that's what we want to do with the roping. We want the roping to make money for the foundation for that, you know, to help people. And that's if it can do that, then we'll be really happy.
I think it's tremendous what you're doing. I think those are things that it's fun to be able to rope. It really is. But when for one, when you can honor your brother, two, when you can utilize the gifts that God gave you to do things for other people, especially when it's you guys have had that firsthand and know what that's like, and to be able to now to be able to help the families that man, that's their worst nightmare, as a dad,
Yes. Yeah.
the mom, as a brother, sister, all those things that's talk a little bit about too about some of the stuff that a guy doesn't realize. So that way, people understand is like when you're talking about funeral costs, you're talking about
Yes.
certain things that when they happen, I mean, it for a lot of people, it's overwhelming.
It's very overwhelming. So I mean, like whenever he's passed away, we get home that day, and the next day, all right, we gotta go to the funeral home and pick out a casket, you know? And just I mean, that in itself, it's just like, oh my gosh, like that's seriously what we have to go do. So we go up there, you know, all right, now we gotta pay for it. You know, now we gotta go pick a spot for him, you know, that's find a graveyard, you know, just things like that, you know. It's just like stuff that you don't even want to be doing in the first place because it's so hard, you know, but have to do it. It's just it's such a stressful time. I don't know. It's just I've never been around anything like that. You know, I've been pretty lucky. I haven't lost a lot of people that were real close to me. And so I haven't had to deal with a lot of that stuff, and that was really hard, you know, it was just really hard, to see how much it tore people up, you know, and it is just a really hard time, but, you know, that's things like that, the funeral costs, you know, going to the graveyard, all of that stuff, setting up the funeral, it's just a very stressful and not not happy time, you know?
Yeah.
It's just tough, and so that's our goal is just to really, really try to help people in that situation, just give them a little bit of relief, you know, maybe take out one step that they don't have to worry about, you know? And if we can do
That's,
something like that, we'd be happy, but
yeah,
it's
that's special, man. That's something, like I say, you're utilizing the talents God gave you, you know, and glorifying Him, glorifying your brother. I think that's so special because I've only been to a few funerals myself, and you know, the few of them I've been to, you know, it was so sad and it was so,
Mhm.
um, you know, it was hard. And then I went to LD's mom's funeral, and I've never seen anything like it. It was a celebration. You know, it was truly celebrating her life, and the
Mhm.
pastors were talking about great stories, and they were talking the people that stood up on all the people that they affected, and it was such a celebration of life. But it has to be so hard when it's such a young boy, you know, just in the start of his life.
Yeah.
But where you guys are doing such a good job of celebrating his life now for a good cause, that is special. I love what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, thank you. We're really proud of it and happy about it, and I think it's something Ace would definitely be proud of.
Yep, I agree. I agree. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. You and Bri are going to do great. You guys are going to have a great year. I'm
Yes,
excited to
sir.
watch. And where are you guys up at next?
We are going to the Lone Star Shootout this weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we're at San Antone.
Nice.
So that's our next stop.
Heck yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
you guys are
sir.
going to be good. Got some good momentum going on right now. Who all you
Yes,
roping
sir.
with at the Lone Star Shootout there in Abilene?
I have Bry, Cash Duty, and Shay Carroll over there.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right on. Right on. Well, do good over there, man. And anyone looking to be involved in this roping, young kids, you need to be going to it. Check out the Live Like Ace. It's on Facebook, March 13th through the 15th, and then check out the foundation. So, man, I love
Yes,
what you're
sir.
doing,
Thank
buddy.
you. Appreciate
You
it.
do good out there, man. God bless you.
Yes, sir. You too.
See you, bye.